I've always worked in an industry that is very people-focused, where people are pretty gregarious. I work in the sales industry, and it's always been encouraged to drink. So we drink to celebrate the end of a good quarter, we drink to celebrate bringing on a new client, we drink to commiserate something bad that's happened. So it was a pretty constant cycle at work.
Throughout her 20s, Sydney's Hannah Rodger saw every big night of drinking as a sign of dedication to her career and social life. But as the years went on, her drinking habit slowly evolved into an addiction.
It started out as drinking at the weekends, and then maybe after a year or so, I might have a glass of wine after work on a Wednesday. And then a couple of years after that, I can drink a bottle of wine after work and still work the next day and not feel the effects. My tolerance to alcohol increased, and then I was using it, I think, to de-stress from the day, but not realising that alcohol was actually fueling my stress and anxiety, and that became a cycle.
By the time she was approaching her 30s, Hannah found herself drinking to excess most days of the week.
There were a few times where I would wake up and I couldn't hold down any food, and I couldn't hold down any water, and I really considered taking myself to hospital to get a drip in me, because I knew I was very, very sick, but I was too ashamed to do that. So I would often just stay in my bedroom for 2 days at a time because I couldn't move. It took a huge toll on my mental health, and it took a huge toll on my physical health. And it got to a point where I started to realise how much of my time I was wasting thinking about drinking.
After a few unsuccessful attempts to moderate her drinking, in 2017, Hannah made the tough call to quit alcohol altogether. But not all of her friends were as supportive as she'd hoped.
Initially, I tried to keep the same social circles, and I would still go to the pub on a Friday. And I realised very quickly that I couldn't do that, because that was really affecting my mental health, and it was really affecting my own sobriety. I think we are in a culture that has hundreds of years of history with drinking, that it's so ingrained in us that we are shocked when people say that they don't want to. So a lot of those relationships that had been formed in the pub were relationships that fell by the wayside. And initially that really hurt. In my real life, I didn't know anybody that didn't drink, so finding people online who had written about it was really helpful. I found the Hello Sunday Morning blog was a really great source of inspiration, because there were a huge number of different voices on there, some of which I could really relate to. I started exercising, so over time my friendship group changed to people that I met through yoga or Pilates classes, and people that I'd go for brunch with rather than going for drinks or dinner with in the evening. And I started talking to a therapist, and I think that was a really helpful turning point for me. I think the hardest thing for me to realise was that this wasn't going to be something that I could change overnight, and I had to be really patient with myself. Alcohol is an addictive substance, so if you become addicted to alcohol, alcohol has done its job.
It's now been 3.5 years since Hannah's last drink, and she says her mental health, relationships and career have never been better.
A lot of people say, "Isn't your life boring now you don't drink?" Well, maybe it is to some, but to me, waking up with a clear head every morning, I have a 1-year-old, so I've often been woken multiple times in the night, but being able to focus on my day, being able to enjoy the day, being able to get out in the sunshine and really make the most of the hours that I've got, to me is priceless, and I'll never go back.